doing something unique here, starting here, and then going outside. I've started in here and stayed in here, started outside, stayed inside, and started outside and gone inside later. But this time I'm starting inside and then going out because I need to show off my new setup. So just moved a couple things around, put my heavy metal right there, and set up this area differently. It's a lot nicer. Have my small arms and military aircraft books on the same, like on left and right, which is really cool, like pillars. I got a piece of paper I cut, which is kind of difficult to cut it to the right dimensions. Move the CUDA down, put BC, by far the best comic strip I've ever read. Followed closely by Pearls Before Swine, but BC is amazing. And then I did a little army men setup here. Can't wait to see how it all looks in the morning. So, let's go outside. I slept coming down the stairs. My elbow hurts a little bit now. So, tomorrow's my birthday. That's cool. Gonna go to a gun range. Is it currently raining? I don't think so. Also, one thing I didn't mention last time was that we got a new car. Hybrid 2025 Toyota RAV4. Silver. So yeah, that's cool. But yeah, tomorrow, gonna get Italian. Gonna turn 16. You know, gonna get a job soon, probably. As for what happened today, went to Cartersville, got a drink, went to Home Depot, went to Lowe's. Was gonna go to the gym, but there were so many people there, couldn't even find a place to park, which is never a good sign. Probably a gajillion kids in there. So that's unfortunate. Didn't go on Monday, didn't get to go on Tuesday, didn't go today, won't be going tomorrow probably. Well, I don't know, I might. Because I don't have that many plans for tomorrow, so I might still be able to head out to the gym on Thursday. Probably not Friday, because I doubt Friday will be an unpopular day for people going to the gym. Rock climbing gym, that is, if you don't know already. So, do I have something to talk about today? I don't really think so. Let me think. Puddle. I cannot tell if it's raining, because it looks like and sounds like there's rain coming down from all sides, but it's not. The trees are making an illusion. It is starting to rain. Alright. Oh, good thing, because I don't have anything to talk about, so let's teleport. Watch this. 3, 2, 1. Oop. There's no creature here. Weird. So yeah, this one won't last very long. Today's YouTube binge has been Quixer. Typically Tales from the Bottle and Last Moments. He's Irish. Gives me a pretty good perspective on what an Irish accent sounds like, but I still cannot perform it. You know, it's really difficult just doing an Irish accent in general. But anytime I try to do an accent that sounds even slightly similar to a British accent, I just default to the British accent. It's like, dang it. I try to replicate his voice. I can't do it. And then that's when I shift into a British accent. You know, I've noted recently that many have written about scenarios, and the reason I don't write about the scenarios I imagine in my mind is because, well, 2 reasons. First, there's a hell of a lot of them. Okay, 3 reasons. First, there's a hell of a lot of them. Second, most of them are relatively similar in ways. And third, it's one of those things where I want to have full progress. So the fact that I already haven't logged probably 100 or more scenarios, it's like, whatever. I've already forgotten so many of them. I'm really surprised, though, that I can keep coming up with these scenarios in my head. You'd think that it'd be pretty easy to run out of them, you know? But somehow I keep imagining new people and new situations, and they just keep expanding, and every day I have something new to think about, and full dialogue happens in my head. So, you know, I was thinking, like, people always say, like, oh, yeah, I love my life. I talk to people, I have interactions, you know, I'm a really social person. Alright, well, yeah, I'd love to do that too, but I mean, it happens in my head, and I probably don't get the same amount of joy, probably nowhere near the same amount as I would if I actually had those interactions in real life. But in my head, I still get joy from it, so, you know, every day I'm still interacting in a way. And these scenarios, they aren't very vague, trust me, they are. I imagine the facial reactions, what I'm doing, everything we say to the word, and all of the enunciations and emphasizes. We just have a full conversation. It's a good time. I meet someone new that doesn't exist. Sometimes they do exist. I call them, sounds weird to say it that, but kind of like fodder for thought. If I meet someone new, I will now imagine them in at least 5 scenarios of how we could interact. Each one of them, they have a different personality, and I assume different things about them. I've only written one story where I assumed something about someone, and it was really difficult to do because I just cannot. I really struggle to assume things about people. Even if it's fiction and I acknowledge that it's fiction, I still struggle with it because it's not them, and I'm assuming who they are, and if I find out who they are, then I realize it's wrong. But even without having to find out who they are, I just know it's wrong because how I depicted them isn't exactly how they are. It's probably not even vaguely who they are, because most people I meet, it's only a couple times, once at best, usually for not that long, because I don't meet anyone, I don't really have any friends. So I have made a video about this. I really struggle to depict myself in a positive way from another person's perspective, because even if it's completely fictional and it's based on something that is entirely objective fact, that is not disputable, that is a positive trait about myself, and this person that's complimenting hypothetically is completely fictional, and the compliment is fictional, it's all fictional, but it's all based on a fact, I still can't get past it. It still seems so arrogant and selfish and egotistical. Why? I have no problem telling you what my good traits are, and I've written about them, but I just can't bring myself to put those into other people's words, because again, even if I know it is a fact that only someone who's a madman could disagree with, I couldn't possibly put it in other words, because here's an example. Let's put it down to a more subjective thing. So let's say I think I have an attractive physique. My abs, my muscles, my chest, those are attractive to me. Someone could disagree with this, and I'm sure many others would agree with me. So there's people on the agreeing and disagreeing side. So what is so wrong with making a fictional character in a fictional story who says, "Oh, I like your physique"? That feels so wrong to me. It's like, oh, well, I don't know if someone would say that. Someone most definitely would say that. I'm sure there's someone in this world who would absolutely die for my physique. And of course, there are also people who think it's absolutely hideous. So there's so many struggle to say that, perspectives. And even if I imagine one where they admire me, even in the slightest bit, even in the ever most little slight bit, on the most niche, minuscule level, even if it's just like, hey, you're really nice. If I wrote that coming from a fictional character's mouth about myself, I couldn't bring myself to do it. It's so tough. Even though I know someone would say that, and someone would gladly say more. 1 moment, please. Right then, so yes. So even if I know there are people in the world who would compliment me at a minuscule or at a macroscule, megascule, I don't know, the opposite of minuscule level, at a very large level, I still couldn't write it. And it's a fictional character. Even if it's someone who actually does exist and has complimented me, even if I, make a fictional story that involves them and that involves the exact words they used, toned down or not, I still couldn't do it. I hate these things. They poke up, and they're a metal rod that could poke into a dog or a kid or something, so I always just bury those. There you go. So yes, even if it's something someone has said and I know is true and would happen again, because I know that even if they confirmed, yes, I would say that most definitely, in that exact context of that story, I would say that, and it's a story based on real people and real places, and it's just me, and I know what I would say, and they told me they would say that, and it's this place, and I would know what that place is like. Even if I had all of those facts, if I put in that story saying, hey, you look nice, from their perspective, and they told me they would say that. It just feels so wrong. And I don't quite know why. Because again, I have no problem complimenting myself, which the way I word that sounds, of course, very egotistical, but I just know the qualities about me that are objectively good, and I know the qualities about me that I think are generally accepted as good, and I know the qualities about me that I just personally believe are good, and I could differentiate them and tell you what they are. Yet, I could not put them in anyone's mouth. I could tell you if someone has said it. I could say, oh yeah, they told me this, I look nice. Like, for instance, people have said they find me attractive. I don't think I look attractive necessarily. I'm not conventionally attractive. I'm like a 7. So I could even tell you people complimented things about me that I don't even believe are true. But when they are true, and when they are people who have said these things, I can't do it. What is my insane repulsion to supposing, I just really don't know why. I cannot bring myself to do it. Because I am putting words in the mouth. Really. I guess that's the hardest part, but I'm going to the extreme. I don't like putting words in anyone's mouth, regardless of what they are. Even if I had someone say, no, I could. Yeah, regarding anything else. Even if they complimented someone else, to be fine with it, but, man, when they compliment me, I can compliment myself. Well, I don't compliment myself necessarily, but I could tell you my good traits. But if I were to have someone else who's fictional or real in a fictional setting, I cannot have them tell you my good traits, even if they're objective. I don't know why. Perhaps I could logically think of it, and I could put that answer in the description. If I have done that, you may check the description and you will see the answer. Perhaps I will do a distant words entry to break down why I do it. But it is truly fascinating. Why? It could just be, for all I know, there's no logical answer, and I just simply feel selfish doing it. But given there is much more thought to do there, well, I could do it right now. I'll put a little bit of thought in. One moment. All right, so I thought about it, and I believe I would be able to write about someone else who told me they would say that. Like, I visualized myself writing that. It still wouldn't feel amazing, but I could get past that part using logic and go, okay, yeah. But the reason I don't want to write about fictional characters admiring me, objective or not, is because in a way it's self-praise. It is telling you through writing, even though it's fictional, that there are people who I believe would admire me, even if there are none. There are people who would, but I'm saying there are these characters which are not real admire me. So I'm making someone a fictional character, and then I'm forcing them to admire me through my writing. Even at a tiny scale, even if it's objective. Because there are, I suppose, people who... No, because really, the objective things, like, okay, what's an objectively positive trait about myself? I help other people. So, if I made a character and that character said, completely fictionally, I admire the fact that you try to help people. Who wouldn't? A narcissist? I don't like those people. I don't want them to like me, but, well, okay. Maybe writing that wouldn't be terrible, because I guess, let me think again. Alright, yeah. Again, one of those, just like last time, I thought I wouldn't. I mean, it would still slightly feel bad, but I could get past it with logic. So, I guess I just misinterpreted the situation and assumed that it would be worse than it is. So my own problem is with writing about characters who are either real or fictional and putting words in the mouth that I'm not sure they would say. Because that would be assuming someone admires me if I don't know they would, or if they're not real, so they don't exist in the first place. And then that is... Because, I mean, you see the problem in that. The explanation for that is a little too much for me to do right now. But you can see why saying someone would admire you, even if you're admitting it's fully fictional and the events of this writing are just not real and may or may not happen, you're making someone else admire you when you're unsure if they would, or they simply don't exist. Giving yourself praise, which just feels wrong. So, that was a fun breakdown, and another great example of how enough thoughts can break things down and explain things to you, and you'll understand things and have more knowledge, because now I will understand the situation better, because it does occasionally appear in my thoughts. So when I think about it, I'll recall this day, and I'll recall what I thought about and the conclusions I've come to, and I'll understand. If I don't become too lazy, I will link the video I mentioned earlier in the description. So, God bless you. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, adios.